Hey, good afternoon. Embrace the Community Podcast family. I know it's Wednesday afternoon, so this is a uh, what you call it, the interruption of your normal scheduled broadcast that's going on now. So I just wanted to come on today to really talk to you to my Embrace the Community Podcast. It's been going around in the young mother that was attacked in Chicago. This situation, of course, is something that's been going around, and like I said, I've watched, and I'm one who's going to gather the fact first before I start commenting on anything that's going on. And I've been watching the news, try to get an idea what's going on, the media, and seeing what they're saying about it. Of course, then if you turn into Instagram and all the other medias, you're getting into a little bit more in depth about the people in that community and what they're saying and what's going on, and the parents and their reactions to it as well. So this is something that I definitely wanted to talk about today. So welcome to the Embrace Your Community podcast on a Wednesday. No, what is today? Today is Thursday. I keep thinking it's Wednesday. Thursday afternoon, morning for me here in the Dallas, Texas area. And if you're on the East Coast, it's in the afternoon, 16 minutes after that hour. So listen, I just want to talk, and I want to talk, but I also want to get the feedback from the people in the Embrace the Community podcast. I want to know, what you think and what your thoughts are, because I'll tell you right off the back, right now, I wasn't raised like this, and so I'm going to say this, and I don't care if who doesn't like it. When you have children raising children, this is the outcome. We understand that Big Mama is no longer around. Big Mama's no longer around. I get it. We get it that she's no longer here. So I understand that part of it as well. But on that same side, what happened? Where did they fall off? I'm just going to voice my opinion about it, and I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. And then I'm going to let you voice your opinion about this situation here, so we can talk about it in the Embrace It Community Podcast family. Yes. So this segment, this episode is based on the Chicago parent beating. That's it. That's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about this and how has this really affected your thinking path. And I'm watching a lot. I'm watching a lot on social media and what's going on, So before we go any further, just warning you, kids should be at school, or maybe not. This is the holiday break, but I just want to watch it. But maybe they need to watch this. We always say we want to protect their minds and heart. These kids today do nothing but stay on the computers and on the internet. And I can't even, I'm going to say, I don't think half of the people that allow their kids to be on social media monitor what their kids are watching and doing. This is the reason why. Here's the reason why I'm saying that. Because of what is coming out of the product that they're doing. When you allow someone else or something to raise your children, this is the worst thing you could ever do. You're going to get a product of whatever they're watching and embedding in their mind. I used to watch kids at restaurants and going out on that family night time. And everybody at that table is sitting there so engrossed in their smartphone, which is really their dumb phone. They're so engrossed in that, and they're not paying attention to anything else that's going on. They're not paying attention to the time that they're supposed to be having with their family. They're not doing any of that. So anyway, what I'm saying is this, and I'm not going to rattle on with this. What I'm saying is this. I'm saying this. That was wrong. That was a dead wrong situation. And if my kids could tell you today, Tatiana and Asia, those main two right there, they were the ones that know that I did not play when it came down to my girls for anything. Leah too. Leah, I didn't play. All of my children, I did not play. If I got a phone call or if I got a message, someone saying to me that someone at school is doing A, B, or C, and you better believe that I was there. And that was the only thing that stopped the bullying, that stopped the hitting, that stopped the pushing. And this was, hey Jay, how you doing, son? Yeah, this is cruel. This is downright out cruel, son. And that's why I'm on here talking about it, because I know you, with your babies and my grandbabies. I know I don't even have to even think about it. I'm not even gonna say what Tanika would do, but I know you would shut that down right away. So here's what I experienced with my children. Then we're gonna talk about this situation and how would you have handled this, or what would you have done if you would have done anything. Some people say they may have done nothing, but that's the problem. I think that's the problem, because now I want to reflect back to when I was a kid, and then I'm gonna bring up the picture to my kids. So I remember one time I was on a class trip, right? And we were walking, two by two to the subway, and I was clowning. I was just acting a fool. And somebody came up behind me, and I could not tell you who this person was, and grabbed me and shook me and told me to cut it out. I'm going to tell your parents exactly how you're acting. So that's what I meant about Fort Greene in Brooklyn, New York. Everybody knew each other back in the 60s and the 70s. Everybody looked out for each other. So once that happened to me, I straightened up. I stopped the clowning that I was doing. So yes, I was that kid that clowned around. I was no bully, but I clowned around. Now, one time when I did followed a group of kids in my school, we picked on this young boy. I can't remember his name, man. A little skinny, little light-skinned dude. And man, every time I think about it, I feel horrible to this day. We would just kick him and do all of this stuff, because he was so frail and weak. And we took his school books and threw it over the fence, so he couldn't get it. And I don't know how his mother knew where I lived, but his mother came knocking on the door of my grandmother's house, 8 Monument Walk down in Brooklyn. And I'm sitting there in the chair watching TV, and my mother was there at the same time. And the lady told my mother what happened, and I was a part of it. And my mother said to me one word. She said, where's his books? Or why did you do that? And I said, I don't know. And that's the only thing consciously I can remember, because my mother beat the brakes off me right then and there. She beat me and then picked me up and dragged me and made me go back over to the school and get the books, because I knew where they were, and made me do it. So that's what I'm talking about. That's the part we lost. We lost that. That's completely gone. That parenting is completely gone. And I think, this is just me, I think, this is my views, and that's all I'm saying, that some parents would rather be their friends than be their children's parent. They want to be their friend. And so when you are being your child's friend, only thing that you're doing is just showing your kid or teaching your kid how to act out in public. So they're seeing everything negative. Because what I was watching to find out, I was like, okay, where are the parents, and how come they didn't get on their social media platforms like they all scroll through all day, throughout the day, every day? Why didn't they get on and drag their kid on and made sure that we seen the chastisement and the repercussions for those actions? We didn't see that, So what I'm glad we did see is that two of the kids that were part of this bullying scheme were now charged along with their parents. So that's my thing. Charge the parents. Number one, if you start charging the parents for the children's actions, I think a lot of this stuff would change. But like I said, if you have children, having children, and then they're trying to just be their friend instead of being a parent, it's nothing going to change. It was wrong. So when I was coming up, when my kids were going to school, I'll never forget Asia. I picked her up from school one day, and she told me, she said, Dad, this girl pushed me and knocked my glasses off, and I think they're broken. And I looked at the glasses. They wasn't that broken. It was a minor adjustment that I was able to do. And I was driving home, and I said, well, who is she? And she was telling me who she was, and she pointed her out. She said, there she is right there. and I pulled my car into the parking lot just before they walked down the hill. I got out my car and I approached that young lady. I said, "Did you put your hands on my daughter?" And I pointed to my daughter, and she was looking at me. She was like, "I was only playing. I was only playing." I said, "Well, don't play with her. Don't you put your hands on my child ever again." I was waiting for the parents to call me up the next day, but the parents never did. And here's why: because the kid knew she was wrong. The kid knew she was wrong. This is why she didn't go home and tell her parents. And then Asia told me shortly after that the girl was trying to be her best friend, at school. So let's talk about this. If you want to go ahead and jump in the comments, that's if you want to. But I wanted to get on here and do a special episode of the Embrace It Podcast Community Podcast and talk about this because it was really bothering me just watching this. And I'm so glad that some people came to her rescue, um, overflooded her GoFundMe. I think it was GoFundMe and Cash App. And then the rapper guy from LA came and rescued them, took them out of that situation and moved them into a different situation and took care of their holiday and everything like that. And that's what I talk about, the God we serve. This is what I mean about when God steps in and shows you his favor in the midst of troubles that you're dealing with. This is what the God we serve will do for you, because it would have been a total disaster or a pointing of the finger of the mother if she would have pulled out a gun and shot those kids. She would have been the wrong person. Would she have been wrong? Tell me, would she have been wrong in the eyes of the mothers or the parents? And the first thing they would have got online and started saying on the camera and started saying, "You shot my baby. You shot my baby." Well, your baby was acting like an adult. That's why your baby got shot. It was in Atlanta. I did see on the news in Atlanta, this 16-year-old young man decided to try to rob somebody at a gas station and wind up losing his life. He got shot for trying to rob somebody. And of course, the parents are probably going to go on the media and say he didn't have to kill him. He didn't have to shoot him. This is the time we're living in where parents are not taking responsibility for their children's actions. Why? Because they're kids mentally themselves. They don't know how to take responsibility for themselves. This is why this is going on. So that's what I wanted to jump on here and talk about. And I'm probably going to replay this again on Sunday when we normally come on and let you give me some feedback. But I thought I would just jump in during the middle of the day, had some time down and thought I'll get on here and talk about it. But you know what? This is the discussion that needs to be addressed at everybody's table, with your children. Talk about it. Let's talk about this and show your children what is going on in the community. And if anything like this ever happens to you, you need to talk about it. Or if you're ever a part of this, here's what's going to happen to you, because like I said, bullying, no, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's totally wrong. It's disgusting and it's cruel. And so if you one of those parents that are swiping by on my page and laughing and thinking that it's fun, I challenge you to call me. I challenge you to contact me and tell me why you think that this is okay. But it's not going to happen. So I'm just putting it out there. If you want to, I will. But I'm telling you, these misfit parents that are raising these children are the ones that I'm blaming. So charge the parents, charge them with an assault, charge them and let them have a record in their background from now on. But they probably don't care anyway because they're probably already criminals. So that's why they probably don't care. So you got criminals raising criminals. You got bullies raising bullies. So this is what's going on. This is just the reality of it. And it's not just Chicago. It's everywhere. This is going on everywhere. Like I said, when I was a kid, I got bullied and then I turned around and wound up bullying somebody, but I got to give it to my sister. When I was bullied, my sister came and stood up for me and she fought, for me. So, this is what's going on. So yeah, I just want to talk about this. So, what's happening? What can we do about it? What can we do? How can we get these kids help that need help? How can we do that? We can't even, they don't even want you talking to their kids because, we're trying to speak life into the kids. Half of these kids that are the bullies, their parents don't want you speaking life into them because nobody spoke life into them. So that's why they're doing that, And then if you're stereotyping their kids, they ready to fight you because you stereotyping your kid or telling you what your kid is doing wrong. The teachers in the school don't even want to have anything to do with this. The principals don't even want to have anything to do with it because they know the people that they're dealing with. They know that the typical type of persons that are fighting against what they're trying to do, they know what they're doing. So they take their hands off. But so here's a question that came across the media earlier today. How come no one stopped in their vehicle to help this young lady in that part of town? What's going on? Why are we so busy to pull out your cell phones and record instead of helping? Why is that? What is that? Can someone please explain that to me? If you are watching or you're going to watch this later, go ahead, shoot me a message and drop me a DM. Let me know why you would rather record on the phone instead of helping out someone in distress. And what is it? Is my second question. What is it with kids no longer respecting adults? What is that about? Tell me what that's about. Somebody please tell me what that's about too. I want to know, and I'm asking questions, and I want sound answers. I'm hoping somebody can give me a sound answer on why this is in the time and society that it is. I just don't get it. I'm not saying that anything that I would do, but I just hope and pray that I never have to deal with someone's misfit child come in my direction trying to be disrespectful to me. It's not going to be any talking. It's not going to be any talking whatsoever. I hate to say that, but this is the time that we're living in. We're living in this time where nobody's taking accountability in that child's life, but they only want to take accountability after something happens. So the Embrace the Community Podcast is here to talk about it. Let's talk about it because that's what we're about at the Embrace the Community Podcast. I want to talk about these things. I want to know what you think. What's your voice saying? This can happen anywhere. Same age, same cities, different choices that people make. Okay, so what is the difference? What can we do? How can we stop this? How can we do this? Now, I was going to show the video. I wanted to just show some clips from it just to try to depict it and find out what exactly went wrong and how it went wrong. But, I don't know if I can just grab something and then go bit by bit. I might be able to do this, but I definitely wanted to get your feedback on this whole incident and see if you could tell me how can we fix this when I freeze the frames on it and say, okay, this right here, how can we fix this? Here it is. Here's the part that we need to talk about. What do we need to do? How can we stop this? Or what should have been done here? I don't know. What can we do? What can we as the Embrace the Community Podcast listeners, what's your advice on what can we do in this day and time? I hate to say it, but I've seen this happen even in church. Even in the church, I've seen this happen. I have. So it's a sad situation to be a part of, but I've seen it happen, and I just need to know what's the answer because if we don't have an answer, it's not going to get any better. If we don't have an answer, it's not going to get any better. So that's what I'm trying to find out. Now, okay, so I got some people on here, and I'm just going to read some of the comments here. Parents are not taking responsibilities for their kids. Period. Thank you, Rhonda. Period. Nobody's taking responsibility for their kid. These parents are not taking responsibilities for their kids. So how do we call them parents? Why do we call them parents? What's the definition of the word parent? And what is parenting? What is that? Okay, so that's where we start. If we want to get to the root cause analysis of this thing, and how do we start? How do we fix this? We have to start where? With the parents, right? So that's why I said this has to be something that's done from the root, and that's the parents. So the parents now need to be held accountable. Period. No question. Find out who the kids are. The school knows who the kids are because they're the big dummies was putting their face up on camera while they're doing it. And I want to know this also. There was one young lady who had on a hoodie, was sitting in this room with this young lady. Who was that young lady? Was that her parent? It couldn't have been her parent, because if it was her parent, why was she afraid to say, I'm her parent? But I guess it wasn't her parent. So who was that young lady being the spokesperson for that child? Who was that? Was this staged? Because I'm looking at this young lady's face, and when someone is sorry, godly sorry about doing something, you don't see the smiling and laughing in between, right? It starts at home. You don't see that. You see a humble child actually telling you and letting you know that they are sorry for what has happened. But I did not see that in that picture. So who was that young lady? Does anybody know? Who was that young lady that had that young girl get on the camera? Who was she to that young lady? And where was her parents? Or where was the parent? Okay, where was that? So we're not even going to talk about where was the father for these kids as well, the mother for the mother's kids. We're not even going to go there, because that's a totally different subject, in itself, because that can be real sensitive to this, the situation with the parenting, split parenting and support and all that stuff. So I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to go there. But I want to know who that lady was that got to put that young lady on Instagram, I think it was, and had her apologize, give an apology. Did I believe the apology? No, I didn't believe it. You know, did I feel that she was sorry? No, she was only sorry she got caught. That's my opinion. She was only sorry she got caught. And all the rest of the kids, they were sorry they got caught. But when I seen them drag this lady down to the ground and put their foot on her, that right there would have been enough for me to have to put my foot on those kids, because you're acting like an adult now and not treating an adult like they're supposed to be treated. So anyway, we don't know who that young lady was. I was hoping somebody would drop into the comments who that young lady was in that picture there. So what else? What else can we say? What else? Um, so where do we start? Where do we start trying to get a change? Where do we start trying to help them, help this generation move forward? And why did this happen? And why? What is it? What's going to be the outcome in Chicago? What's going to be outcome across the world with now the kids being disrespectful to adults? Is that going to change? What do you think? I don't think it's going to change. I think it's going to get worse. I think it's going to get worse. And then what is going to be the outcome after that? Mm, only God knows. So just want to get on here this afternoon, your time on the East Coast, and this morning on my time, and just talk about this thing, man. I just wanted to get some ideas from the community that tunes into the Embrace the Community podcast. What you think? What's your thought on this? How can this be fixed? Is there a solution? Is there a fix? Is this fixable? Can we do anything about it? I don't know. That is the question. And that's what I'm hoping that we can get answers to. Because if I give my opinion on here, I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. I've been there where I tried to help mold other people's children. And I was looked at as the bad guy. You're too hard. You're too militant. You're too stern. And that right there was a turnoff for me to run, get up out of that, because they want you to come in and help them. But when you use your ways of training and helping kids and trying to help them, the mothers, first thing they want to do is protect them and say, you're being too hard. You're doing too hard on my child. I don't want you doing that. Don't talk to my child. And then the kid, what do? They start being disrespectful to you. So you're wasting your time, men, if you find yourself in that situation. Anyway, thank you all for joining in today. Like I said, I just want to get on here real quick and talk about these issues that we are seeing across the United States, in Chicago And like I said, it happens everywhere. There are some. I've seen a couple of people that have some programs where they're going around stopping the bullying. Young man goes to the school, and he picks up the kid that's being bullied, and helps him to gain some self-esteem and about himself. And then there is another gentleman that comes on who gets the call from the mother who the child at home is being so disrespectful. Watch what your children are listening to and watching. Once again, watch what they're doing. Watch what they're entertaining themselves with throughout the day. If you have a young child at home from the ages of 16 on down, and you are allowing their day to be nothing but TV, smartphone, and games, you might want to rethink how you are raising your children. If it's educational, I definitely understand. There's educational things that they're watching and getting into, but monitor it. Just monitor it. Just don't let them sit there scrolling continuously on those smartphones, because you're allowing something to raise your children. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say on this subject here. And I want you all to have a wonderful remaining of the week and your weekend. And I really hope that this will help you or enlighten you to finding a solution on what to to help this generation. Is there help for this generation? The question I pose: is there help for this generation of parents that don't know how to parent? No parenting skills whatsoever. All right. Thank you again for joining in. Inbox me. You can inbox me, Embrace It Community Podcast. You can email me. Email me at Embrace It Community Podcast at gmail.com. Also, you can support the community podcast other ways. Also, let me throw that up there where you can get coffee at Embrace It Community Podcast. Buymeacoffee.com, embrace it. All right. Do that as well. And you can also email me, like I said, the Embrace It Community Podcast at gmail.com. Waiting to get some feedback on that. Let's not also forget that I am a suicide prevention spokesperson. 988 is suicide prevention. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. All right. If you're ever feeling any of those thoughts, I want you to know that you do matter. We do love you. So remember that I only love you is because I love me first. So that's what I need you to remember. All right. Don't forget, buymeacoffee.com/embrace it. Go there and help support this community podcast. The only way it stays online is by your support. So I want to thank you all that jumped in today. I know it's the middle of the day, and like I said, unannounced, unexpected podcast show that I want to do. And I think I'm going to replay this again on Sunday because we need to hear it. People need to hear this. People need to grasp this and say that, yeah, I need to do something in my community. And if you can just take one young person and change their lives, imagine the impact that you have now made on somebody. So I know a lot of people that mentor young people. Dee White, she mentors. Rhonda, I think she has a program in Columbus, Ohio, where she has mentored people. And I've watched people, in the mentoring. I try to mentor as well. I remember wanting to start a project some years ago called Boys to Men. It was back in the day. I wanted to get that going. And so, let's do something. There's something that you can do. Whatever you put your mind to do, whatever your heart is leading you to do, do it. Help the people in your community. Like I said, change one life and you will impact a generation if you can change one life. So thank you again for joining in. on the short notice of the Embrace the Community podcast coming on to you live on a Thursday afternoon. I don't know why I thought today was Wednesday, but it's Thursday. All right. But take care of yourself. All right. Just breathe in everything that you're doing. Take care of your mental health. Take care of your physical health as well. And like I always say before I leave you, I love you. That's only because I love myself. All right. So thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.